Okay, so this is for the curtains for the front passenger window, and make sure you can kind of just show the whole thing so you can see everything here. And we want the dimensions to be 32.5 inches for the height, and the width of it to be 39.5 inches, and then the rod pocket to be 2.5 inches, and then the hem at the bottom to be 3 inches at the hem. Can you see that? So, and then I'm hoping that if we can, to do a hidden stitch for this vertical area here, and I'll show you on the other curtains how that looks. Because can you see the stitch at all? Okay, so if we can do it without that, that'd be great. Because I really like the hidden look. Go ahead and pause and we'll.
Okay.
And so this one has a nice stitching on the backing, and it's hidden here. And so something else I noticed is I like having the blackout not run all the way to the top. So you can see in this where the blackout kind of ends. I don't mind if it runs even a little bit higher, but if it ends just a little bit above the stitches, that's great, and not go all the way to the top. Because I noticed on this one, go ahead and show, it just really easily smooths. It's really smooth and easy to tuck into the side, and I think that has to do with the blackout not going that full all the way up to the top. So we'll give you a set of those to keep as an option to look at. Go ahead. So with the blackout running all the way up to the top, you can't see the light, but it doesn't move nearly. It's like stiffer to try and move it all to the side, and it kind of wants to push back out a little bit more. So I think that just not having the blackout run all the way to the top will be the best, as you can see on the other curtain how it performs. So that's the big notes that we need to take into account as we're doing, so that way all the curtains are the same with that. Hopefully having just the hidden stitch on the back like the other one, unless there's a real reason we need to have that vertical stitch in there visible, and then just not running the blackout all the way to the top, I think will be great. So the height of the frame for this window is 32.5 inches, and the frame width is 52.5 inches. And so obviously that's the actual width and the height. So you're wanting to also add any fullness, which we had talked about that earlier. So that way it kind of helps it to add a little bit of that nice ripple. Go and pause. All right, this is the passenger side back window, framed, is 32.5 inches tall, and then the width is 39.5 inches. And then of course the pockets on all of these bars that and all these frame windows is the same bar, is a 1-inch bar, and then the pocket is going to be a 2.5-inch pocket, and then the hem will be a 3-inch hem. So that way all of them stay the same. Pause. All right, this is the emergency back window, and this is framed also. All of them are 32.5 inches tall, and then this one is 32.5 inches wide, and it'll be the same with 2 split curtains. Same size pocket, rod pocket, 2.5-inch, and then at the bottom for the hem will be the 3-inch. Go ahead, pause. All right, so this is the bathroom window, and this will be just one single curtain. It won't be a split double curtain, so that way it's just one piece of fabric pulled back and forth. And the height of this from the top of the bar itself, so as it hangs, because this is different than the window framed ones, it'll be 26.5 for the height of the curtain. And the width, we're going to have go to this basket to the wall here, and that will be 28.5 inches wide. Rod pocket will be the 2.5-inch at the top, and the hem will be the 3-inch hem. And then I don't think we'll need to add fullness. I think that will be pretty good with our fullness already, considering we have enough kind of extra here. So what do you think? You think so too? Okay, pause until. Wait, are you going? Don't. This is the doorstep window, and the height for the curtain is going to be from the top of the rod, because this doesn't have a frame on it, and so you're going from the top of the rod all the way down, and then that will be 49 inches, and then the width for this panel will be 29.5 inches all the way across here. And we don't need to add any fullness to it because it's already plenty wide. And then the rod pocket will be 2.5 inches, and then the hem for this will be 3 inches at the hem. And then pause, and then so this curtain, just like the bathroom window curtain, will just be one single piece of fabric. So it won't be two pieces coming together, just one piece of material. That's all for the door curtain. Good. All right, so this is the curtains for the very front window, and it's going to be 2 separate panels. Each panel, the height of the panel of fabric will be 41.5 inches, and each of the panels' width all the way across will be 63 inches. And then we will have, basically on the outside edge of both of these, add a little bit of extra fabric. And so one, we'll want to add more fabric on the outer edge, and on the left window we'll add the extra fabric on the outer edge of the window. So that way, and then if you can, try and do a seamless stitch if we can hide the stitch, integrating that blackout fabric and the shiny fabric into this fabric and extending this out to the full 63 inches. That'd be great. And the hem on the very top, for this top hem, and I'd like the blackout to run all the way the full length to the top and the full length to the edge and to the bottom. And the hem at the top is going to be 2.5 inches, so where this comes down for the hem, and then the very bottom of the hem will be a 3-inch hem at the bottom. So let's see here. Then from this grommets, our grommet spacing from the top of this fabric here down to the actual grommet itself, it will be 1 3/4 of an inch for that space here. And then for the inset of the grommets, where it starts, I'm going to have it at 1 3/4 of an inch from the outside edge to there. So that'll be 1 3/4 down and 1 3/4 in. And then our spacing between each of these grommets, I would like to have as a 4-inch spacing. And I think that's it for now. Go and pause that. All right, if you have any suggestions on how deep our hem should be on the top or on the bottom, like if you think that it should be a smaller hem than 3 inches or a little bit different on the top here, just let us know, and and that goes for all the curtains. If there's any of the different dimensions that you have advice or suggest to do things differently, we'll make changes with whatever works best. Go ahead. Middle curtain, what I'm going to do is measure from the top of the ceiling here and then down, and the total length that we'll have for this will be 69 inches, and then the width of this is going to stay the same as this fabric, which is 52 inches wide, because this is perfectly wide enough to, it totally has lots of overlap to completely lays flat against the wall here and flat against the wall here. So just using the full length of the panel is all we need to do, or width that is. And let's see here. Then what I would like to try and do is, because this has like a shiny fabric on one side and it's not shiny and nice on the other, with our middle curtain it'd look really nice if we could have it shiny on both sides. So what I would like to try and do is stitch this shiny fabric on the back side of this but start right underneath the grommets here, all the way across. Just go right under the edge of the grommets here, and have that nice kind of fold over there, and stitch the shiny on the back, and then hopefully have that hidden stitching if we can, without, you know, kind of overlap that inside and stitch that so we can't see the stitching, kind of the way this is here, and that would be really great. Let's see here. Come over here, pause it. All right, so what I'd like to do on this side, in order to keep, I'd like to build, pause, go ahead. All right, so the bar, I'm hoping to push the bar all the way up as far as I can, and I can't go any higher than this because of this trim piece here on the edge. So in order for the bar to push up as high as it can, and so it's kind of not in your way with, you know, bumping into it, this material for this top of the curtain, the way it is already, it's a little bit too long. And so what I'd like to do is hem it, so that way it's just shorter. So from the top of the grommet, at the very inside edge of the grommet, or the top of the bar, and the top of the inside of the edge of the grommet to the top of the fabric should be 1 inch. So basically that's how much space we have between the top of the bar and the ceiling here. In order for this to smoothly slide and it's not rubbing against the ceiling a bunch, I was hoping we could try and hem the top. So that'd be great. And then we're gonna leave these grommets exactly the way they are. They slide well and they move to the side and kind of pile up really well, and they're really thin, low profile. So we're not doing anything with that, just leave those the way they are. And that's it for this, for the middle curtain. Pause. And so the last thing I forgot about, the hem for this middle curtain, I want it to be at the bottom is 4.5 inches. And so that should look good. The top fabric is about a 4-inch hem at the top. And unless you have any other suggestions to do it differently, that's what I'm thinking. Unless you think it'll work better, perform better, or look better, let me know. Thanks.
Ready.
All right, go ahead. So for the loft window passenger side, we're gonna have this, the height of it from the top of the rod down. We're gonna do that 16 inches. And then the width from one side to the other here is gonna be 30 inches wide. And this is going to be a 2-panel, 2 pieces of fabric. And you can add some fullness to this. And then the rod pocket for this rod is 3/8 inch, and I'd like the pocket to be 5/16. Between 5/16 to 1 inch, I think would be great. And then the hem for this at the bottom would be 1.5 inches. I would like to have the 1.5 inch hem, unless you have advised me to do something differently. And I think that's it. We can pause. So the height of the passenger side window, I remeasured it, and I'd like to actually make it so it is 15 3/4 inch for the height, or the, yeah. And that's it. Pause. All right, so this is the loft window for the driver's side, and the height will be the same as the other loft window, which is 15 inches 3/4. And the width for this window is a little bit wider. This will be 30 inches 3/8. The rod pocket will be 5/16 inch, or an inch. I think that 15/16 inch it will be great. And then the hem for 1.5 inches down at the bottom, I think that'll be great. And that's all for that. Loft windows, this will also be a 2-piece curtain, so it won't just be 1 piece of fabric. We'll have 2 pieces of fabric come together. And I think you could add a little bit of fullness to that with the dimensions that I gave you, maybe, or not. Hopefully if we add some fullness, it won't be too long for this rod to get, you know, enough space to tuck out of the way of the window, because it's only got this much space to move the fabric out of the way. So I think, pause. Okay. All right, so I've made the choice that for both of these loft windows that we should not add any fullness because there's just not a whole lot of space to move it out of the way. So I think just keeping it standard dimensions without really adding too much extra fullness would be good, unless you think so. When they come together, it's helpful to have space, you know? Like, do you think that'll be enough space to get it out of the way? Pause. All right, coming back to our front curtains and working on doing these grommets. I wasn't sure if you know how to do that or are comfortable doing the grommets for the front windows, so I wanted to bring this up at the end. I've got the tools to do it right here, and on Amazon they sell it, and this is a little punch tool kit here. It's really easy. Just set it right wherever you want that grommet to be, and then don't pound it too hard, because if you put hit too hard, then it'll make too big of a hole, and the grommet will it'll slip through a little easier. And after you've punched that hole, you can take this other tool here and just poke it through the middle here, and it clears out the excess material, and that helps every time you go repunch the holes. Clearing out that fabric helps it to just cut easier and punches through easier. So that's just a helpful technique that I learned. After you punch it, on the finished side, so on the shiny nice side that you want to actually look at, you'll be putting in that the nice part of the grommet where it's already curled around, and then you stick that through, and then once that's through here, I think that's, oh, go ahead and pause. I'm forgetting what to do.
Go.
All right, once you have your grommet set in there, take the little pokey tool and push that through the back side of the grommet here, and then we'll set this on this little whatever pounding block thingy, and this kind of does its shape forming thing, and all you do is tap down nicely, and then that curves around that metal on the back side and finishes it out. So really easy to do grommets. Whether or not just let us know if you're okay if doing them, or we'll look at doing them ourselves if you're not feeling good about that. All right, that's all for now. Thank you. Let us know if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you very much.